Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alina and I'm your Russian teacher. I'm sure you all heard the Russian construction «меня не было» or «меня нет, меня не будет». And you've probably wondered why it's not «я не был», «я не» and «я не буду». Today we're gonna learn the difference between these two Russian phrases. Let's begin. So, main questions. Are these two constructions the same? Not really, even though in English we both translate them as I'm not, I haven't been, I won't be. But in Russian, they have their differences. And the second question that we can ask, are they interchangeable? No. Let's learn how to use them correctly. And let's start with the construction меня нет, меня не было, меня не будет. Here we don't care about the tense. All of them work in the same situations. So this construction меня не было we use when we talk about an exception from the rule. For example, every day I am at work, at the office. Я на работе. But tomorrow, for some reason, I won't be there. Maybe I have an appointment with a doctor or maybe I got sick. So I will have to say меня не будет на работе, because that's an exception from the rule. Usually I am there. Or let's take another example. Let's imagine that I decided to visit you today. I went to your house because usually in the evenings you are at home. So I was sure that you are there. But for some reason, unlike the usual habit, you weren't at home. So usually ты дома, but yesterday тебя не было дома. It was an exception from this rule. As you can imagine, the context for this construction is usually very limited. It can be work, home, university, school, so technically places where you are supposed to be at a certain period of time. Because only like this we can create an exception from this rule. Also, the second situation where we can use this construction is when we break a promise. Let's imagine another situation. I decided to go to the movies with my friends. I promised them that I would go with them, but I didn't show up. So they can ask me the very next day or after the movie. They can ask me, почему тебя не было в кино? So it's not почему ты не была в кино. It's почему тебя не было. Because I made a promise, but then I broke it. I didn't show up. That's why here we can easily use this construction меня не было, тебя не было as a question or as an answer. Or if one of my students is supposed to be in the lesson, but he's not there, I can also ask him, почему ты не на уроке? Or почему тебя не было на уроке if it happened already. Of course, if I speak about the general situation, we will use our construction that we all know perfectly. Я не был, я не была, я не буду, я не. In all the tenses. For example, I can say я не была в Европе. So nobody expected me to be there. I didn't make a promise that I would be there. No, it's just a general fact. I haven't been there. So that's why I simply say я не была в Европе. Or он не был в Москве. Same logic. We can use these constructions with the previous examples. Like, почему тебя не было в кино? There I made a promise and I was expected to be there. But if I ask, почему ты не была в кино? It sounds like you've never been to the movies and I'm asking you why you never been there. So you see, that's the difference. Here it's the general fact and there it's breaking the promise or exception from the rule. Also, as you can notice, all my examples, they are for negative sentences. Everywhere you have не было, нет, не будет. Why is that? We can perfectly explain it with the grammar. We use this меня, тебя, or any person, any name in the genitive case. And as we know, one of the most popular meanings of the genitive case, that's absence. And here, that's exactly what we're talking about. Absence of the person somewhere. That's why we say меня не было, тебя не было, меня не будет, тебя не будет. Or меня нет. Right now, меня нет на работе. I'm not there. But usually I am. Remember that. So here it's all about the grammar. Also pay attention that our verb to be, не было, не будет, we use in the impersonal form. So it's neutral and third person singular. Будет, было. Always we will use these forms, no matter if you speak about women, men, or group of people. Меня не будет, его не будет, ее не будет, and нас не будет. Or нас не было, их не было, ее не было, его не было. All these examples, they are different, but they all have было and будет. Just because these sentences, they are impersonal. In Russian, меня, тебя, его, ее, these are not the subjects of the action. That's what we have to remember. We have to use genitive case. As for normal phrases, я не был, ты не была, as you can see, here we can use different forms. Masculine, feminine, plural. All of these forms depend on you, who's talking. And that's it. I hope it wasn't really difficult and now you're able to understand the difference between меня нет and я не, or меня не было and я не был. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget about my Patreon page where you can practice Russian with me more and subscribe to my channel to learn Russian with me.